Ja, the synopsis. Och that actually skipped the intro there for some time. Right, so we're continuing where we left off. That will be we killed, that before. This is part 18 now, and stuff that, so yeah. You might be wondering, oh, why should you watch this, for example, and stuff that, But yeah, there are of course reasons why you should, but yeah, currently we are having this setup here, but this is not going to be the true quote-unquote setup that we're going to go for. We're going to go for something else. Kick Summit might actually be worth slapping on another character, but we will see how things go. I need to make sure though that we don't have ribbon on anyone. Nope. Okay, so let's have it like this. Okay, so yeah. So you need to wait a really long time there for it not to be windy. And stuff that there's actually, like, you need to wait like way longer than I think. We got pretty lucky there, we got pretty lucky with the pattern there. I think that the pattern can be much rougher. There can be one where you only have like maybe a window of like maybe 1.5 seconds at worst, I think. But now Sephiroth wants to tell Cloud the truth and stuff. That was actually very nice of Sephiroth to try and want to do like, this is what actually happened and stuff that, that this is not the illusion, that this is the truth. And Tifa knows that this is the truth, of course. And then he calls it stupid, even though that's the truth, basically. Yeah, and maybe he is the god on the left there, because they had exactly the same pose there, Except, of course, that he was never called a separate clone, because it's super rad that they call something a clone just because they inject some of in other cells. But then, of course, Claude is what actually ended up being the most similar to Sephiroth in a few ways. Stuff that, except, of course, and maybe that's why he can actually use the Mura Same and the Lucky Yotsuki. That is actually because of Sephiroth and stuff that, Because those swords are very different from all the other swords that he uses and stuff like that. The one that gave me the black materia that day. But that makes you think that, okay, this Sephiroth here is actually quote-unquote the real Sephiroth. But that means that he can quote-unquote project himself somewhere else, reconstructed by Hojo. Except that's not true, and stuff that, like, that just means that Hojo experimented on him, and stuff like that. So yeah, when it comes to the true low-level challenge, of course, yes, for example, yes, the goal would have been to, like, quote-unquote only have one character survive in, like, each encounter and stuff that, but of course, having that, for example, like we do allow, for example, to do forced encounters here and stuff that, and this means, for example, these forced encounters aren't something we're gonna allow in the true lowest level possible challenge. Then basically, this means that we cannot go inside Gongaga the first time, basically, when like Ruden shows up there. There is, of course, after a certain point in the story when you can go there safely without triggering it. I forgot if it's after Cosmo Canyon you can go there or whatever, or if it's actually later and stuff that, because I would try several times, because you want to go there as quickly as possible, of course, because we need to go there to get Titan material and stuff, but yeah. Also how we spend money and stuff that, you know, it's going to be different as well during that run, you know, and stuff that. Because during that run, I won't allow no encounters and stuff that, meaning that we're gonna, like, stealing is gonna become really, really super important, because you might say that, oh, how are you gonna defeat Demon Wall because you needed to grind for Demon Wall on this run. And that is true, and stuff that, but there are actually ways to kill Demon Wall without needing to grind, but it requires very specific items. I believe you actually need the dazers, which I believe you can get already. And then I think there is an actual item that can actually deal good damage to him, and I forgot if it is that you actually get the right arms, that you get a bunch of the right arm item. But the thing, of course, during the quote-unquote true lowest level challenge, then basically we will kill the other party members before any boss fight. And it is a bit weird that they did not encounter the rest of the party and stuff that, you know. But I don't know how much further this is supposed to be up, because this is technically now they're in the center of the plate basically and stuff that. And that, of course, is that foresty place that you see in the Naughty Crater and stuff that, you know. And technically the real entrance to the Naughty Crater is behind that crystal thing or ice or whatever they are encapsulated in, and all the weapons are inside there, of course. Monsters created by the planet, basically Caillou created by the planet. That's what the weapons technically are and stuff that, so yeah. The question is though that, like, could they quote-unquote remake part 3, but could they quote-unquote unbookify the story, or even go back and change the story both in, like, part 1 and part 2? Like, could they go back and, like, change things to make the game better and stuff that, like, could it be possible, right, that they could go in the past and change how the text? Because the main problem is that there is a lot of translators when they translate the game to, like, English and stuff that they are using, that the people they hire are, like, woke people and stuff that, and then they change the story and be like, And of course everyone knows that, for example, that Sweet Baby Inc., for example, worked together with Square Enix and stuff that, you know. That's probably what made them change some of the text and stuff that, you know, that they got forced to do certain things. The reunion, and of course Hojo knew about the reunion and stuff that, you know, because all the Innova cells are trying to gather in the place where Innova came from and stuff that, you know. Because this was literally the impact crater where Innova crashed. The question is technically though that where is quote-unquote Spira? Like, is it that they traveled from Spira? Like, is the whole planet Spira, or is it just that small part that you are in Final Fantasy X, for example? Or is Spira an actual quote-unquote planet? So that, because this is obviously meant to be Gaia, right, in Final Fantasy VII. I don't know if it had a name actually and stuff like that, because of course in Final Fantasy IX, of course, the planets are Gaia and Terra and stuff that, you know. And I forgot if they're named in every single Final Fantasy every time and stuff that, you know, or if it's just, you know. It was very late in September. I think it's on the 30th is when the thing is coming out. You see, even if you know bombs is dismembered, it will eventually become one again. So you know, our clones have begun to return because Unova began to move, and Unova took the shape of Sephiroth, of course. Yeah. And it's through the live stream that he manipulates stuff. Was being summoned by servants. The question is also, are they gonna add like more playable characters and stuff like that? Because it was always weird, right? Because if you don't quote unquote recruit Yuffie, for example, if you don't recruit Yuffie in the original course, then Tifa is the only like female character you have aside from Aerith, basically. And so that's once you lose Aerith, you know, you only have Tifa left, you know, and stuff like that, which is a bit odd, you know. The question is, right, can we ever have a Final Fantasy again that has the same amount of characters, for example, as something like Final Fantasy VI, right? Stuff like that. And technically, I hope that if they are still doing the Final Fantasy IX remake, that they add all the characters at least from that quote-unquote mod that exists for it. Because you have Beatrix then be playable, you have like all the Tantalus members be playable, including Baku. So you have Marcus, you have Blank, you have Ruby even playable actually, and Sinna. So that's, yeah. So that would add a lot more characters to the game, but then also the Bounty Hunter, the female one, is also playable and stuff like that, yeah. Beatrix was of course meant to be playable and stuff like that, that's why she actually has a bunch of abilities and stuff like that. But the Tantalus members actually was meant to actually be playable as stuff that they were gonna have like here, like learnable skills and stuff like that. Yeah. And they gave the black material to separate the course, and that's what actually makes the weapons awaken, because like the planet is being threatened because of Nito getting summoned. But then of course they are quote-unquote meant to defend the planet. That's what the weapons like goal is. So the weapons aren't technically evil in that way. But then of course, since Sephiroth managed to manipulate things, whatever, but the thing is supposed to be that Claude's consciousness is in some of them as well, or something like that, because Claude's consciousness somehow, because he helped Sephiroth summon him, because he gave it to Sephiroth, but then also some of Claude's consciousness are in some of the weapons. Or that's at least my theory, because otherwise, why would the weapon that attacks you, why would it quote-unquote cut a hole in that very specific place to allow Tifa to escape? That's because there is parts of Claude's consciousness is actually inside some of the different weapons. Because the interesting thing is also, is technically, do they have a planet for each of the characters? Because remember, right, how in Final Fantasy X you had like the different sigils and stuff that power up the weapons, right? And Sun was for Tidus, Moon was for Yuna, for example. And the question is, does that have to do when the characters quote-unquote birthday are? I forgot if it said that what month they were in the Final Fantasy X, like the guide for it. Final Fantasy X guide, of course, I had gotten already when I beat the game and defeated like most of the Dark Aeons. And the real reason I wanted the quote-unquote guide for Final Fantasy X was because of all the artwork in it, because there was like some original like artwork in that, because a lot of times back then, for example, certain guidebooks like Piggyback is basically the best brand, because they actually book bound their books. They're not like you use, you know, that you take glue and then you use glue a book. Instead, it's done in the old school way and stuff that, where there's actually threads inside the book and stuff that, you know, which is like a very, very old art form that is like dying out and stuff that. I mean, art form is maybe more of a crafts form or whatever, right? Books that are done that way can actually be repaired even if they almost completed the story. Like you can have a book being almost like burnt up and then you can still save it if you know how things work and stuff that, you know. She's remembering things here when she first met Claude and stuff that, you know. And the thing is, though, that I do think that they should have had in Final Fantasy Remake is if they were gonna add stuff like, why not add like early on, like when they first met and stuff that, I can understand that maybe they are going to have that in part 3. They're going to have this actually be playable. But, because here's the thing, right? There is no way that the bombing mission is the first mission that they do. Stuff that there's no way that it's like, oh, boom, immediately after this, they just go and, we're going to bomb the first reactor and stuff that just immediately. Like when they first have met like this, and stuff that, Or did you fight with Barrett this time? Because when she says, for example, like, oh, did you fight with Barrett this time? And stuff that, when she asks that, it means that he must have been on several missions with Barrett. Like, oh, did he fight with Barrett this time? That maybe he hasn't been allowed to fight with Barrett before because they didn't trust him enough yet, That's why I talked about the Avalanche job. So maybe he did several things before because 100% certain, like Claude wasn't trusted at first by Barrett. There's no way that, oh, this is the first mission and stuff that, but of course that is, not true, so there were probably several missions that they did before they did the whole bombing of the reactor 1 and stuff that, Like maybe that should be Final Fantasy Remake 0, Part 0, whatever, or Prologue or whatever, Because I always thought that it was shitty with just 3 parts, because the only thing that I was willing with the remake only being 3 parts was if they weren't gonna cut anything. But then it feels like, okay, you cannot even go back to Midgar in part 2 and even get like up to its walls and stuff that, And sure, the Midgar actually still exists in the game. There's a way to actually glitch over there, but then not everything is textured properly and stuff that and everything. But still, that would have been great, and that, even if they would have made it like DLC and they would have made it quite an expensive DLC, maybe even not the price of a full game, but maybe if they would have made it like $30 or something like that, or $40, then maybe, stuff that. But then it feels like, because what feels is going to happen is that it's 100% going to be disappointing in the next part, because you're not going to be able to visit every town, and after a certain point you're not going to be able to revisit towns. That's what I think 100% will happen, that after you've been inside Midgar, you won't be able to go back inside Midgar again, because it would just be like, oh, Midgar is on high alert now, because you took care of Shinra and stuff that now you cannot go inside Midgar anymore. You might say, oh, but that's true about the original as well, right? Because you got only a limited section. But then if it doesn't feel like you can fly around and you get to every single town and revisit every single town, and you just go in and out of each town as much as you want, then it's going to feel like really, really bad if you cannot do that. And also if they lock stuff behind like stupid mini games, oh, you need to do good enough in this mini game to get this weapon, that just feels like really, really bad. And sure, that was doing the original as well, but it feels like, oh, you need to score this in this to unlock this, stuff like that. And then if there's no alternate way to get that thing, because yeah, sure, for example, like when you can buy all the yoke weapons, the umbrella doesn't even get sold. So that's, Separate alter ego. And also, of course, things are going to be very different when it's going to be the lowest level again, because it's basically kind of going to be solo, but it's not going to be solo with one character. It's basically going to be that you switch around the characters and stuff like that, and maybe there are certain fights that will be impossible, because the arena fight is bullshit, because even if they're put into pyramids and stuff that, it doesn't, the thing. So I have access to Dragon Cloud here. I have access to Double Banger here. So I think we do this on Barrett. The thing though is, it's not worth, I feel, using any of these, because they require so much to use, and to get like up to a good level in Combat 2 is not really worth it either, I feel like. We just take MP2 along with enemy skill. I think we do. All with restore. And she doesn't need to have anything, of course, so we remove her Giga's armlet, put diamond bangle on her. We go time, we go barrier, and then we go all, and we go all. And we go steel here, and then cover luck plus and magic plus, and that, oh man, I would like to counter attack though if possible. Elemental bio, I guess. We can level that up. Wait. So that you're getting combat, you're getting restore, and the highest one here should always be the one that has the most all combat with MP absorb. And let's put transform here. Put this transform and put that with all as well. And get death blow. Range. Elemental and quick. Quick, yes. Or did I already quick? Quick, no, there is. Good. That. Now we have to set up we tranquilizer him. That's our beat. Except when and of course it might be worth actually and he's further away from leveling up than her, of course, so, and here we're not going to care about, you know, the keep in mind in the lowest level possible challenge also, we cannot of course kill any enemies except for enemies that we need to kill. Meaning, for example, we need to like steal many times and then like run away and stuff like that, and there are gonna be certain things of course we cannot do. So that meaning there's no like getting UFI at all, even like later on, even if it isn't that much XP, it's just that is extra XP, so that is something we cannot do at all. This also means that we cannot recruit Vincent either, but that also means, for example, that stealing, for example, boomerang in the forest where UFI can be is also going to be worth doing, just because we can sell it and stuff like that. So yeah. Because no encounters won't be allowed, because that will actually make things easier, because it will be hard kind of to run away sometimes, especially if you are low level, because then you might used to die from certain encounters, you know. That also means that we have to be very careful with what we get. Like, do we used to get a bunch of like black grenades, for example, and stuff like that. Because yeah, sure, some of the double AP weapons are good, but then of course they're going to be better gear that we can get a lot of times. But yeah. Sleeping gas. Hey now. Right, we only have steel on him though. Can I use mini them? That's the question though. I hope I cannot cast mini again though. Isn't there a way to... I thought that there was a way to be all it and stuff that there was a button that you could press. I thought I should probably haste the party up here maybe. Let's tranquilize him. Yeah, it's something was out to kill good. The barrier here though, or is barrier gonna last way too short? Steel. Didn't steal anything because this steel would be very good of course, because this is an 18-inch cannon. But that didn't equip sense. I could have sworn we equipped sense actually. Maybe we have cure with everything okay, good. Yes, it as well, yeah. Good. We don't need to cure already about stealing. So we got one of the 18-inch cannons. Oh, good. I would love him to get the kills though, but bring the Reton Barrett here. Hold on. Because yeah, Empathy actually together with the thing is actually very good. Else will be the only encounter we will be getting here. So we remove that, we arrange. So let's actually a quick kick out for now. Don't open. These things were always so cool and stuff like that. Give man right that when it comes to them walkifying things, so that sometimes it's not done by the main studio, and sometimes it's done actually by external studios that just force their things that, oh, you should have this is what is popular in the West or whatever, right? This is what the woke people like, and then they think that, oh, the woke people is the majority of people and stuff that, but then it's like, you know, can fire people. The question is, was weapon actually hit and stuff that, right? Was there another weapon that you killed? Why were there more than one, and stuff? That's the question. But of course, yeah. Now the question though is why doesn't Emerald weapon attack and why doesn't Ruby weapon attack somewhere, and stuff that. The question is, was that ever going to be a thing? I get it, right? You cannot have the super bosses attack, right? Somewhere. Right? Because obviously, right, Ruby weapon would have attacked like the gold sword and stuff that, or Corel prison or something like that, And that would have been really cool, right? If they actually make it, instead of being super weapons, that they actually make them into proper boss fights that you can actually do and stuff that, Now, obviously, right, with Emerald weapon, they will probably have to change its location or something like that, I don't know, maybe it's not, quote unquote, it doesn't need to be underwater. Maybe like Emerald weapon is not like a, vehicle, whatever, right? Because it kind of feels like it is supposed to be a vehicle of some kind, but yeah. But maybe like Emerald weapon could be above ground and stuff that as well, so yeah. And this is of course technically Sapphire weapon, the one that is attacking Junon. But then there's another one that looks more like some sort of worm thing, or not a worm, but almost like a snake looking thing. And it's not supposed to be this one and stuff that, because there's a bunch of weapons that you see in that cutscene that doesn't get accounted for and stuff that. I'd say, oh, it's supposed to be this one and stuff that, yeah, but is it super loud? Yeah, it is kind of loud, even when it's only 6 in volume, which is weird. Then exchange deal. You wouldn't get much from said encounter, but of course we get a bunch of stuff here. 2 8-inch cannons. Now the thing is, we will probably not be getting the 8-slot weapons and stuff like that, but we will probably keep everyone's what we call 8-slot weapon as it were. Right, and it needs to be on the right of this, because that's actually the quickest way to like the airport and stuff that, And then of course you feel really on and stuff that, Now sadly there aren't any forced encounters here, which always felt weird. The important outfit needs to be a thing as well, I feel like, And then now it's or later on it basically specifically hits her thing here, so yeah. She's the 25, so she will actually be the lowest level, I think. I don't want party members, and if that is the case, we will already equip her now with Wizard Bracelet and Circlet. Now does that mean that I should just get a bunch more like Wizard Bracelet or whatever? Because Wizard Bracelets are super fucking expensive. Like Wizard Bracelet I think is like 10,000 gil or like 11 or 12,000 or something like that for I mean, Wizard Bracelet is absolutely excellent because, it has the very high magic stat on it and stuff there. Like, sure, it's not good against physical, but for example, Wizard Bracelet is very good versus like if all of a boss attack or the majority of attacks is, Yoink, and then triangle and circle, yeah. And then you just press square. No? actually press circle there too. That's a bit stupid in the order there. So it's X first, and then basically once you get to the key, it's basically that you need to press head to actually go back up and stuff that, which is weird. But yeah, now it specifically frees teeth, and you might say, oh, but it's attacking Shinra and stuff that, which is actually untrue and stuff that, because like who was it gonna hurt here with this beam and stuff that, you know, like, oh, that very specific spot. And so now it comes for another beam basically, and that would have done damage, this beam that it was gonna charge up. But I'm pretty certain that weapons aren't stupid or whatever, right? That it realized that, oh, it's a big cannon right in front of me and stuff that, you know, that there is no way that, like, why did they think, you know? Because you can see the part that it ripped was only affecting this one chamber here. Well, I mean, technically it could have been more, it could have been part of the interrogation room because it's pretty wide as you can see there. But still, you know, brands, still, you can see how high this up is because this is where you take the elevator up to. So this is basically the building that's on top of Junon, and that's on top of everything. That guard is dead. There's one person that dies here. Actually, if you wait, you can actually see all the guards that quote-unquote fall. And see if, of course, the rest is fall, because that's no problem further for some reason. And now we're on camp. But I know it's already called Sister Ray here and stuff that, you know. But the next boss fight is, of course, going to be the Fort Condor, because you want to do Fort Condor first, so you can get the Imperial Guard. It is the way. Run to the edge of the cannon. She stabs and she gets knocked over, and then of course we have to run away, or you run automatically. Actually, you don't need to run input. And Barrett comes to the rescue in big ass ship. Because yeah, partying would absolutely have to be massive, but you know what I hope they do next console generation, or something they should have done this console generation, is that you could have decided what type of textures you want in the game. Because here's the reason, like, having 4K textures in the game is really the reason why a lot of games have the absolutely insane file sizes that they have. Like, of course, that would have been fine if, for example, if the PlayStation I, for example, had a 10 terabyte hard drive that was super fast, then that would have been good. But this whole thing, because people already on the PS4 complained, even if they had a 2 terabyte hard drive, people still quote-unquote complained on the PS4 and stuff that, no. But then here they decided, oh, we need these quick loading times and stuff that it's going to be really revolutionary. And how many games have really, quote-unquote, speak to the captain the floor? And it's actually Casey that could fly the ship as well, you know, stuff that, and it wasn't like that, you know. But I'm pretty certain not all the party members were captured and stuff that, you know, because like that is something that needs to be explained. Like, okay, like kids, it was obviously there, right? But Kate managed to infiltrate, so it was only technically Barrett and Tifa that was captured because they are the only quote-unquote Avalanche members, because the other ones weren't part of Avalanche at all, you know. The Harmon Girls here about how and then he talks about the live stream gushing up. That's not useful for anything, I don't think. I don't think there's any glitch you could do with that. That's one of those open dialog boxes thing. So we have to use her. And then basically the only members that are 25 are these. So we will then, because Sid will become the party leader. So we will have Sid and then we will have the Fear and we'll have Sid, Goofy and F13. Wow, it's very close between their level there. She's closer, she is technically slightly more away. Crazy. Now we're off. And now we hear the old Doom music. But of course, think about it if they would have done more with this, for example, and stuff that, you know, which they could have done, of course. Actually, first off, let's go get the final enemy skill materia because we can. Go get it right now. You can see, oh yeah, the cannon is up there, of course. But yeah, so we can go all the way up here. We can add here. You can see that it has the same type of hat as the quote-unquote the one in the ancient place, you know, stuff that's, yeah. Now what can I do for you? Sell me something, and we actually want to get rid of Dragonflower, get rid of Organics, get rid of Auto Realm, that even though it rains cold, get rid of Poisoning because that's quite a lot of money, but get rid of Reflect Ring, keep Protecting though, get rid of Firing, get rid of Dragon Armlet though, probably not. They do say, I don't remember for the life of me. That's what was the usage. Alright. Alright, you don't get special music yet for the high wind. That's not until later. Of course, Costa del Sol is where you need to go to get the other thing. But yeah, the cannon's still here, right? Yes, you can see here clearly. Okay, good. Let's go over here. Let's actually first use PHS here. Equip the Fury with Javelin. And Javelin is very nice because you can see it has linked slots on it and it's 62 damage. It's very good. And there's a closer way we can park. We can park here. Because here is where you can do the trick also to get, what is it, quadramatic. Oh, we should also get greens. So, Crystal Cross and Crystal Cone. Crystal Cross and Crystal Cone. And then we sell Gold Beret, we sell Dragon Armlet, we sell I think we can sell the White Halberd as well. You might say, oh, you used to get the Partisan, for example, but his double weapon is good enough. Vincent's double weapon, on the other hand, is not as good. So you can see there, yeah, Wizard Bracelet, absolutely insane cost to it. But yeah, I want to test something though. Yeah, I want to test this. So she has 80 magic attack with use the Wizard Bracelet and not the other thing. And with Crystal Bangle, she has 60, 70, 80, so that's, yeah, it wasn't 60, 80. Yes, so that's a 20 plus. You get 20 plus magic from having the Wizard Bracelet, but I don't want to sell the Wizard Bracelet at all. There's absolutely no reason to sell the Wizard Bracelet. Yes, Wizard Bracelet costs 6,000, which is half the price. Yeah, and we want to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically, we want to get one more as well for keeps it. A crystal bangle here. And now we exit, and then we need to exit here. Because we need to get, I think you need to get the best greens, although I'm not 100% certain. And yeah, so ultimate we need to sell as well, so Crystal Bangle. And then Crystal Bangle. So you can see bump line against Javelin, like, yeah, it's a big difference, but you know, Crystal Bangle. So yeah, now everyone has Crystal Bangle. We have 2 characters that has the crystal weapons. But I haven't decided if he's going to specifically have the thing. Yeah, and now we enter again here. And again we had a music thing here. anyway, there are some other things we're going to be getting as well from some of these. You can buy remedies, by the way. It's actually really useful eventually. We'll sell bolt omelet. We don't want to sell Wizard Bracelet. The circlet is only worth 1, so it's not worth selling. Sell 4 diamond bangles though. Actually, ring is worth quite a bit though. Something with Wizard Bracelet, but so that gives us 9k. And we need to go in here. And here we can get the amulet for 10,000. We can also get the fire ring, the icing, and the bolt ring. Fire ring is here, gem ring, white cape. But yeah, but you can get, for example, if you need to get a specific element. So, but the luck plus 10 is also pretty huge. Alright, because you need to actually inspect the door there first. I don't wonder if it's locked, because why would you pick up a key, right? You know, that's... This key doesn't go into there, by the way. It actually doesn't even show up here. It's not them. But it's really, really weird that it doesn't count as a key item. It doesn't show up in the key items at all. It doesn't show up here. Which is very weird. And the thing that I always thought is that curse ring was going to change into something else. It was going to change to the best successor in the game or something like that, you know. Of course there's no key that's torpedoed. Yeah, that's received curse ring. Nah, you only received 1 curse ring. They gotta move. But yeah, but the curse ring, of course, is the best successor technically in the game. It increases each status by... yeah, it increases status by shit ton. But then you get affected by death sentence. Then, for example, if you do this, for example, if you destruct and then you destruct the other effect to death, and then you cook this, yes, it counts as death sentence, which it says that you're not immune to. For example, like, yeah, death sentence is its own thing here, death sentence there. But the thing is, death sentence, when the timer is up, it casts death on you and stuff like that. And if you survive that death and then you, for example, raise the person or you resurrect the person that was quote-unquote cast death on, then you will basically still have the stat up. You still have the stat up from the curse ring and stuff like that, you know. Because if you get more than 1 destruct material, you can use that setup on every single character and stuff like that, you know. If you get more quote-unquote curse rings. So that's very important, but now I probably shouldn't have bought all or gotten all of the crystal bangles and stuff like that, you know. I don't know, music is like really, really bad when it happens. Boo, 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 boo. And now we need to go to Rocket Town. Because there are some items we can already get over there. right here. Oh, right, we finally got music again. But now 18 cards is available here as well, which is actually pretty good. Always the same kind of thing here, with except you have peace swing here now and safety bit as well. You can get S-minus here. And then we have the Fort Bracelet. And the Fort Bracelet is interesting because there's a 60 magic attack, 60 magic attack, 80 magic attack. So for example, Wizard Bracelet, 80 magic attack. So basically it's Fort Bracelet that's technically the better version of the Wizard Bracelet. Except of course it gives you also massive defense and stuff that, yeah. But why is it called not like Grand Wizard Bracelet or like Archmage or Arch Wizard or something like that, you know? Instead. But yeah, Fort Bracelet is absolutely massive. Like, Fort Bracelet is the best. However, the Fort Bracelet, I don't think you can get it, that you can get multiply of the Fort Bracelet. Or maybe it is stealable from somewhere that is used, you know, that I don't, you know enough. What Fort combo he talks about. You don't sadly receive anything here. You don't receive the Venus Gospel until the rocket is gone. It's not that sadly. God so slow, God so slow, put that on your feet. God so slow, God so slow. Source, it's as a source that it's a source that you have to guard, and you can get parry here again and exit in time, and you can also get throw here now, a death blow, manipulate. Yeah, being able to get death blow here is actually very good to have multiple death blows, because there are of course specific weapons that are done for death blowing and stuff that, you know. There's no chest in here. And there's no chest, of course, in Sid's house. You know. Right, and it doesn't become a chest there. Is it a chest in here? No. It's supposedly right that if you leave something in this one in one of the houses, it becomes something else. But I forgot if that's actually true or not, or if it's like, you know, or does it allow you to get more Fort Bracelets if that's the case. It's this one, because this one stays open. I'm gonna actually try that out and remember to not go into this house where the old man is. Because she is here. The question is, does this chest become something else? Does the real arm become something else during disc 2? Is the question. So you do this for a source, for a guard source, and Fort Bracelet. And let's stop by. We're gonna see if the best greens that you can get at the shop bar farm, if that is enough. Stuff that, you know. But we probably need to see beforehand, just in case, you know, because it might be that, oh, you know, because if these screens doesn't work, we don't want to waste money, especially when we have very low left here. Shock a balloon. We can do one more video, I think, so that before it gets too late. We are at odds for none.